Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Las Vegas Market and Atlanta Market. Today we have various retailers joining us, and we have Lily Stamens as our moderator. Today's topic is reimagine buying and selling, position your retail strategy, and how that might be accomplished. This is being recorded, and if you miss any of our presentations during market, or during this time period, pre-market, you can go to our website, either americasmart.com or lasvegasmarket.com, and find our previous webinar page where you can find all of our webinars that we have and recorded, and they're also linked onto our YouTube page. At this time, Lily, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. And thank the Atlanta and the Las Vegas market for hosting this today. Reimagining buying and selling in this time is quite a challenge for us. So we have a very astute panel of thought leaders in the industry. We have Mary Liz Curtin from Leon and Lulu. We have Elizabeth Montgomery from Box Hill and Company. And we have Dirk Lawrence from Fremont Flowers. And my name is Lily Stamets, and I am the founder and principal of Premier Retail Consulting. Our topic again today is reimagining buying and selling, repositioning your retail strategy. 2020 has brought us remarkable change in both traditional commerce and e-commerce. COVID-19 has transformed every industry, including retail and manufacturing. So our goal today is to learn from our experience and to encourage a conversation of best practices and newly learned practices that we've had to pivot to. So with that, I am going to start our conversation today. So I would like the panel to take us through your business journey over the last 6 months, pre-COVID, now in COVID, and then maybe some plans for post-COVID. So Mary Liz, may we start with you?
Absolutely. I'm from Leon and Lulu in Clawson, and we are a destination lifestyle store. We have 15,000 square feet of furniture and clothing and gifts and women's apparel and vintage things and new things. And we've got price points from 75 cents to, holy crap, is that expensive? So we kind of cover the ballpark. We started out the year with a bang. We had a decent year last year, and January was great. February was pretty good. And then, as you may have noticed, the rug got pulled. So we have had to change. Our marketing has been very, very event driven. We generally will do about 80 special events a year, from artist markets where we showcase local artists, books and authors with local book writers. We do a farmer's market. We do lots of different things. And of course, that's all changed dramatically. So we struggled through while we were closed. We did some remodeling work. We did polyurethane the entire floor. We painted so that when we opened again in June, we looked fabulous. We also began selling online, which we had never done. And we were surprised at the response to our low-tech website. We don't have a shopping cart yet because we can't dovetail it with our point-of-sale system, but we do have people who are following us, and we have found new customers from it. But as it stands now, we are experiencing a healthy decrease, but we've also adjusted our buying accordingly. Our payroll is down, and we're struggling through. I expect that we're going to make it through the year successfully. What happens next year? You know, we talk about post-COVID. I don't think we're going to see post-COVID for quite a long time. I think it's going to be several years before we greet our customers with a big hug and a kiss on each cheek.
Well, great.
Did I miss anything?
No, we will. If you have, we will catch up with you later. Let's go now to Dirk Lorenz from Fremont Flowers. And the same question, take us through your journey over the last 6 months.
Thank you, and good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. I think our stories as retailers are all going to be very, very similar to what Mary just said. We started out the year a little bit ahead of the prior year. And of course, we monitor that as we go through month by month. And again, March 15th, March 16th hit. Prior to that, 13 employees, full and part-time. I was admittedly a little complacent in my business because we were just rolling along. We do have a healthy web presence. We've been around since 1956, so we're very, very well established in the area. I like to say I was stuck in a 37-year retail rut because that's how long I've been in the retail business. And as I said, sales had been slightly higher over last year. Then COVID hit. We went from 13 employees down to 3. We, as Mary said, started cutting expenses immediately, whether it be PG&E, whether it be insurance coverages in our vehicles out in the lot. We said, take them off. We had our insurance agents adjust our workman's comp rates because we were paying as if we had 13 employees. And we said, nope, that needs to be reassessed. So yeah, we were a little shell-shocked by this. But again, having been through 9/11, 2008, we did come into it with a little experience, albeit it wasn't anything like we had ever experienced before. Post, I agree with Mary. I don't think it's going to come back for a while. But, you know, that said, we've been doing our Facebook Live, which we'll discuss a little bit, our retailcation, we call it, a mixture between retailing and educating. We remodeled our store, spruced it up, and we'll get into how we kind of changed the store around a little bit later in this webinar.
And then for the audience, tell us what kind of store you're in.
Oh, I'm in a freestanding retail store in a commercial district in Fremont. It's called Centerville. And we've been here 37 years. So again, just very, very well-established full-service retail florist.
Thank you, Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Elizabeth Montgomery from Box Hill and Company, and she's going to give us her perspective of her business over the last 6 months.
Hi,
Welcome,
everyone.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily. I'm so happy to be here. So I'm coming from a slightly different place because we have always been online. We've always been an online store. We sell outdoor modern furniture. We've been in business for 7 years, strictly online. We carry nothing. We are all drop ship. When COVID, how I found out that COVID was going to be a little bit more serious than I had heard it on the news. It was early February. I was a speaker at a women's entrepreneur conference called Altitude Summit. It's for young female entrepreneurs. And I was being sponsored by Amazon Home. And, they always throw a ton of parties, and there's, it's amazing. It's a great learning experience. And when I got to Palm Springs, I drove from Arizona, and they told me Amazon would not be coming because of COVID. So everything, I was still speaking, but none of the Amazon employees were traveling. And that's when it was sort of like, whoa, okay, they're not letting Amazon employees travel. We got back, and I did lay off 2 employees right at the beginning because I was, scared. But it was the opposite for us. We actually have had better sales than we've ever had in the entire lifespan of our store. We've already surpassed our numbers for the entire year in 4 months. It was a different ballgame for us. I almost felt like I didn't even want to talk to anybody about it because so many other people, so many other retailers were suffering. But we were ready. We were born online, and so we were ready. Not as ready as I thought for the amount of sales we were doing. So we all have been working sometimes until, processing orders till 3 a.m. Our plan was for our store, 91% of our sales are usually trade sales. So they are to designers, contractors, architects. What we saw change was homeowners. Homeowners were buying more from us than we had seen before. Our plan for 2020 before COVID was by 2021, I wanted to go strictly to trade only, not sell to any, not sell retail at all. I wanted to be just trade. But COVID changed that because a sale is a sale, sale is a sale. And we reached people we hadn't reached. We changed our marketing. We really dug in, and we also are trying to create a better online shopping experience by doing like 360 view, or, being able to view the products 360. We created some other points on the store to make it easier for designers to shop, so they go to the top of our list. Did I cover everything, Lily?
Yeah, you did. One of the things I wanted to bring up is that the customer is now willing to take a risk online. And how did you pivot in your mind to realize that your bread and butter was actually the individual customer versus the corporate trade customer?
Well, money makes you pivot real quick, So what would be usually an order where we were dealing with a designer, where we would be, helping her figure out how much she would need to be, how much, like say they were buying fire pits for all the Marriotts, or, something like that. Designers take more time. It's a bigger sale. Retail may have a few questions, but you have more returns. So, one of the things that also COVID allowed us to do was, because we can't take returns right now, and, Target wasn't even taking returns. So that allowed us to kind of embrace that retail structure without the problem of, hashtag Karen's returning something every 5 seconds because it's not the perfect brown, or, so we actually kind of lucked out that way.
Good. Well, then that leads me to our next question. During the times of crisis, doing the right thing can be difficult. And this is mostly because people are frozen with fear, confused, or indecisive. How are you managing to do the right things in your business during these uncertain times? And let's go to Dirk.
Thank you. That was a great question. I was reviewing that one this morning and really dissecting that question, the right thing by the customer. And that's
Correct.
How I interpreted it, the right thing by the customer. Number one, just as Elizabeth said, we saw a shift to online sales. We've had a website for years, and we saw a shift, especially during Mother's Day, which is a very busy time for my industry, shift from about 25% of our business to 100% of our business. So we're seeing customers' habits change. More are embracing this technology. But that said, to answer your question, how do you do right by them with your online sales when there's so much competition out there, and people have had problems with some online retailers? Well, we've taken advantage of technology, and not unlike what Elizabeth said, our website vendor has allowed us to put videos up of our products. So we don't just have the static pictures, but we also have video that they can go along or go ahead and click on it and see all the images. Now, how's that doing right by our customers? We're trying to provide them with more information so they feel comfortable shopping online. Because again, going back to what Mary said earlier, This isn't going away anytime soon. And I always use the adage that, you know, new habits are formed in 21 days. Well, guess what? We're 6 months into this thing. Those habits are really becoming just the new way that people are going to be retailing. So we as retailers, to do right by our customers, have to have a great online presence, in my opinion, and push the technology edge so that they can feel confident in shopping online and with the brick and mortar retail shops out there.
Great. And then will you tell us a little bit about how you're making that customer feel educated?
Okay, yes. We have our retailcation. It's a combination of both retailing and educating. When we do our Facebook Lives, our seminars and things like that on floral design, or we just did one this last Saturday on how to plant a dish garden, it's more a how-to. And it's a subtle form of advertising. So we're not out there pushing a product per se, we're out demonstrating it. And this isn't new to any of our retailers here, I'm sure, to demonstrate your product and show how it can be used in everyday life. But I think that doing right by the customer, we need to do more of this so they have a better understanding of the services we offer, and they get to know us personally, because building that relationship, albeit online, is incredibly important. Another thing to do right by our customers is more and more are requesting it, we're doing it more and more, is we're taking pictures of the product as it goes out the door. And this may be a little more unique to the floral industry, but we're texting then that picture to the customer so that they see exactly what they're getting, as opposed to, again, a static picture on a website that was prepared perfectly. So they have the comfort of knowing that this is exactly what they're going to receive. And you can't believe the feedback we get from our customers telling us how much they appreciate that.
Wow, what a unique and innovative way to bring the customer into the actual delivery process.
Yeah, that we have to.
Mary Liz.
So we're finding that people are so happy to be back into stores. They are thrilled to be shopping again. And they'll tell us how much they appreciate it, especially our videos. We did a lot of just foolish videos, silly ones, a lot of laughing. They loved our videos. They're looking for more. They want to connect with us. And while it drove the online sales, we're seeing that our online effort has done nothing but chase them right back into the store, because we offer a unique and interesting shopping experience. And of course, we're clear about having everything be clean. Everyone wears a mask. We sell masks, so people will come in and shop for masks and buy 7 or 8 of them at once, because they still want to see product in person. And we're not seeing that our whole world is going to shift online. We'll still be a really major force in what I like to call real retail, where you walk in the door, pick it up and get it sticky and put it down in the wrong place. So it's,
how are you addressing the 80 events that you do a year?
That's a really good question. We bought 2 tents. They're supposed to be delivered this week. They are 20 by 40 feet, and I'm putting them in our parking lot. Our first event, if the tents arrive, will be our first tent sale. It'll be a furniture warehouse sale. And then I'm hoping to do an outdoors in the tent artist market. It's hard to get, I've been trying to feature individual artists and authors digitally, but you don't get the excitement when it's just one person's collection. It's hard to get the real oomph. So we will do a Facebook Live from the events, plus we will have the sides up on the tents, monitor the number of people who can come through them. And I think that we'll be able, at least while the weather is temperate, and I'm in Detroit, so that won't last, but I think we can do a lot of our events in that fashion. The shopping events where we just have a PTA or a mom's group or somebody come in and shop for the evening, that's shot. We also own a restaurant, and our restaurant catering business, we can have no more than 10 people at an indoor party. So that's another huge hit on that side of the business. But our thing is to figure out how we can do smaller events. And I don't know yet. We're doing them one by one. I don't know what we're going to do during Christmas.
Well, thank you for that report. It leads me to a comment. You mentioned that you're carrying masks. It looks like all of us are in the healthcare industry now. because of COVID, especially when we have freestanding stores. So I know in the hospital gift shop industry, masks are their #1 accessory. People are coming in and buying not just one, but 10s and 20s.
Well, we've taught our staff when we sell a dress to help them find the right mask to go with the dress. That it's an accessory that should be part of your entire outfit. And you can't skimp on it.
You can't.
So
good marketing.
Our customers, we're also selling a lot of masks to people who are trying to find the one she really likes. What's the one that's comfortable and fits your face well? And once they find one that's the right shape and the right fabric, they'll come back and buy 6 or 7. And kid masks, huge.
Huge kids
And
masks.
sanitizer.
Especially with back to school. So
Not even that, because people are so worried about their kids, they want them in masks all the time right now.
Well, I've seen a lot of kids on Zoom with their Zoom classrooms, and they have their masks, and they're all showing their masks, which I think in Halloween, it'll be perfect. So how are you building trust and retaining customers in the digital channels? And I think we can take our lead from Elizabeth, but how do you build trust, Elizabeth?
So I think what has helped us is that, you know, I'm a landscape architect by trade. So I didn't just wake up one morning and decide to, you know, do outdoor retail for no reason. I know the outdoor furniture industry. So I think that, you know, winning the HGTV thing in 2018 really helped us kind of build our brand and give us, you know, they can, you know, they look at the outdoor industry and they say, okay, well, this is a person that designs for outside. So that has helped me, my personal store. But one of the things that I set up on the store is we are doing the videos like Dirk said. You know, we're putting videos of products that people have already purchased. So we're going back to our previous customers and giving them a free blow up swan for their pool, or, you know, like garden balm seeds or something for their photos and their videos. So we reached out to all of our previous customers and said, hey, if you have a box sale product, shoot us a video and, you know, we'll send you a blow up swan or, you know, a floaty or, you know, what pretty much whatever we had. Like, we knew one of our vendors was backing us up. So our vendors supported us and said, we want the videos too. You get them and we'll give them like a, you know, a little gift. So we started doing that. We also have been letting them know, because we really are more higher end products. You know, I'm a buy once, cry once mentality on our store. I really want them to purchase with confidence. And so if we have samples, we've been sending out samples, color samples. I also switched it so all the phone calls, which was regretting a little bit now, but when someone calls the store, they get me. It goes straight to my phone. And
Wow.
I feel like people, especially homeowner, you know, the moms and, you know, basic retail customers, when they get the owner on the phone and I can say, give me a second, hold on, I'm Zooming. I'm actually Zoom. My daughter right now is in a Zoom class in the bedroom while I do this. You know, they realize I'm a real person and they can go and look on my store and they can also see that I've done design for 20 years. And they're talking to me about a chair, and I know every one of my vendors. I know what they make. I know their strengths, their weaknesses. We're updating. One thing I will not do is, you know, and I'm not going to say retailers out loud, but a lot of retailers are not putting real-time delivery dates. They're selling a person a fire pit that they can't have till November. We are telling them true, honest delivery dates. So
But I mentioned that that's a problem for so many of us, because the delivery dates, they're often not making up, they're changing about every 30 seconds.
Yep.
Somebody who thought they could deliver in 6 weeks and always did, all of a sudden they're 3 months and they don't tell us. So
Yep.
it's not just, that's a wild one. All of our Christmas is late.
It's a moving target for sure, Mary. It has been stressful for us as well, especially some of our smaller makers that do the custom fire pits. You know, they're just a small operation out of Tennessee, these little guys that are making these cool fire pits. And to get, 400 orders on a Saturday, they had to stop. They just had to stop. So, really counseling our vendors, really counseling our clients and our customers, giving them what we can, showing them live pictures, like, well, you know what? I know this picture is a studio image and there's a lifestyle image, but a lot of our lifestyle images from from some of our vendors are computer generated. So they basically take a fire pit and put one by the ocean or put one by the, different backdrop sceneries. So showing them one that, like, here's how you start it. And here, doing little things like that have been helpful. I said, so I also been texting, which is, now that the customers have my phone number, but it's part of it because this is, they're scared. Like, we sell a product. It's, I'm sure you've seen them, the ledge loungers for the pools. They're these chairs that like sit on the ledge of a pool. Well, most of the time, like people panic right before they place that order. One of the things I see in my, abandoned carts, and, I look to see what products are being abandoned, and then I can see where the customers need help, because one of our main products that get abandoned is these ledge loungers. It's because most of the time clients don't understand how to measure their water depth on that ledge. So I have been on the phone, like, take a tape measure. It's, from the bottom to where your water line tile is, and really helping them, they want to place the order. I see where they get to the store and then they drop off, and it's because, do they have a 15-inch depth or 12-inch depth? And so I feel like me answering that phone right when they're about to place has made the difference. And we're also putting a downloadable tutorial, like how to measure your water line. Like, cause some people, they're not sure what that even means because they're not in the landscape industry.
Right. Well, that actually leads me to our next question. How are we as retailers evolving our operations to account for the shifting consumer behavior? And Dirk, do you want to take that one on? Oh, we can't hear you.
I got to remember to do that. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. I'm very passionate about this because I fear that we will see more and more brick and mortar retail fall off due to the fact, number one, of COVID and the financial constraints that they've been under, but discovering a new way of doing business. Take, for instance, a retail florist, which I am. I mentioned earlier that we experienced during Mother's Day 100% of our orders online coming over our website. That was incredible, whereas we were doing about 25% of our business before. We've seen that shift that you just mentioned, Lily, in the way people are doing business. So that said, I've contemplated the idea of moving my retail operations to an industrial area that just has to have that great website and the phone service, because I'll agree with Elizabeth here, anymore going from 13 employees to 3, people are blown away when they get me on the phone, because every day I'm working those phones, selling selling flowers and whatnot. But this is my concern in how we will start losing our Main Street brick and mortar retail. I'm somewhat relieved that we've seen a great influence, and I'd be interested to hear from Mary and Elizabeth. You, being that all your business is online, maybe not so much, but the efforts in your specific communities to shop local and support the small brick and mortar business owner in your own community. We've had some great success with that, and that in turn has gotten consumers to think more locally and shop locally too, to the degree that they can. So yeah, my main concern is in the future seeing more and more, at least for my industry, the retail floor, shifting to non-brick and mortar locations to do the business that they're doing in a way of cost savings. That's my biggest concern insofar as the future is concerned, and brick and mortar retailing. To the degree that, Mary, you have an experience that when people come and shop at your shop, you say it's an experience and they want to come in, and we've seen that also, and we've seen some very grateful customers coming in just thanking us for being open. And I, in turn, tell them, thank you for spending money. We appreciate that. But we try to here, as I look out in my shop, we try to create an experience that will draw them down to the shop. And we've had several different promotions planned for the future to try to draw them to our physical location.
So Mary Liz, how are you evolving your operations to account for that shifting consumer behavior?
Well, we found that while we were heavily e-commerce while we were closed, or curbside pickup, as soon as we opened, it shifted back to people wanting to come in the store. Part of what they enjoy is they don't know exactly what they want. They don't know they want a bouquet for their mom. They know they want a gift, but they want to come and look at it, and they want to talk to somebody, and they want to be part of the whole process. So I'm seeing that come back, but I also have new customers that we didn't have before that we found just from being online. So we will be building that business. But for our point of view, it's really important we don't lose track of our core thing, which is coming in and having a great time and having people make your house beautiful, help you find the right outfit, find the great present for somebody, and just leave you smiling. We have people who will stop by on the way to the local hospital just because our store cheers them up. The music is good, it's fun. So we can't lose that and try to pivot someplace. I hate that word. We can't try to switch over to someplace where we don't belong. We need to stay with our strength as well as building additional things. The events are going to work out. We'll slowly figure out how we can bring back some of them. We won't get them where we did, where we have 700 or 800 people through the store on a Sunday afternoon, but we'll get them to a point where we're still supporting them. It's one of our missions is to support new makers and independent artists and authors and people who are making jam in a food safe kitchen. They don't have a lot of outlets, so we don't want to lose track of that incubator effect that we've been able to do. But we did just do a really great video that should go out in our email this Thursday. I did a couple of videos where I'd wear a different outfit and talk about, I do it all through the store and talk about where I wanted to go when we got out from quarantine. I would wear this if I went to the Detroit Institute of Art, and I would wear this outfit if I went someplace for dinner, and I'd wear this outfit somewhere else. So now we're doing a series of videos called The Small Crawl. And the first one, of course, is in our own town. And we visited 10 locations in the town, talked about the business and what I would wear shopping in that business. But in every single one, we showed the sign, the windows. We gave a big plug to 10 businesses, 2 of which are ours, but 10 businesses in our town. Next week, we're going to do a small crawl in another local suburb, another downtown Main Street kind of operation. And we've had huge responses to our endorsing other businesses. Every time I talk about somebody else's store, the social feedback is enormous. So that's going to be really fun.
That's the relationship building that you can do in the community too. So that leads me to the next question. With the recent reopenings and reclosing mandates, how have your businesses been affected? And Dirk, do you want to start that one off?
Yeah. Being where we are in the San Francisco Bay Area, we happen to be in one of the counties that was the first in the nation to shelter in place. So you mentioned earlier when that came down, we were quite literally frozen in fear. We'd never seen anything like that before. But that said, we went through it. We had tables out in front of the store. We had hand sanitizers. We had sanitary wipes. We made available to our customers the sanitary wipes. So when they came to pick up an arrangement, it would be out in front. They could wipe the container down and load it in the car. As we moved through that, and they allowed the retail operations for us to have limited numbers of people in our store once again. Of course, masks were required. They're still required here. I'm not wearing mine today, of course, because of this, but I'm looking out here seeing other people with theirs on. And customers could then come back in the store. Just in our entry area, where we again had the tables, and at least we could interface with them in the store as opposed to outside. As we moved through that, then we allowed the customers to come around and walk into our very full, large floral cooler, which was an important selling tool for us, that they can come back, they could see our inventory of fresh cut flowers and select from that. So once we started doing that, things started to flow well again until the recent kind of upswing in COVID cases, and we saw where we saw outdoor dining allowed once again in our community, just outdoor, not indoor, but outdoor dining. They were talking about reverting back to an earlier phase where that wouldn't be allowed, and we'd have to put the tables back out in front. I will say this, at least in our county, there was an uprising of small business that influenced that decision. Some better rules of engagement, if you will, retail engagement were established, and we were allowed to continue with masks in our store. But yeah, we've had to react as the county health departments, which have precedent, make their determinations insofar as how safety would be administered in our stores. And I think Mary Liz and Elizabeth can both tell us stories about their counties and how people were kind of finding the blind leading the blind, if you will, finding their way through this thing, and how it affected our retail locations.
So Mary Liz, that question then, I'm going to pass that same question to you. Have you noticed any change in business, and have you had to reopen or reclose?
We've been very lucky in Michigan. The governor has been cautious all the way along. We closed early. It was tight. And so she hasn't had to backtrack on a lot of stuff. She tightened the restaurant business a little bit because as the research goes on, we see more and more that shopping doesn't seem to be a problem. You don't catch Corona at Trader Joe's. By the way, the best thing about the whole Corona thing, old person shopping. Holy smokes. I love it from 8 to 9 with nobody in there. But we're not having to have an open and close and open and close, which is so difficult.
Yeah, it's
for
difficult.
The stores who have had to bring their staff back, lay them back off, and especially for the restaurants, it costs so much money to throw all your food away and then replace it. And if you do that twice, you're pretty much done. It's a horrible, horrible expense. So we haven't really had to face that.
Elizabeth, have you had any experience online with the reopenings and the reclosings of other retailers that impacted your business or maybe brought business to you?
No, I haven't. Well, that's not entirely true. And, I don't want to come from, a capitalist place right now, because I do feel, I'm being in the landscape industry, those patio stores locally, I've used them for 15 years before I opened my own store. So I know they're hurting. And when they were closed, we did benefit from that. I've seen one patio store who's, been in business for 35 years in Tucson. They closed their doors.
Wow.
They were already older, you know, they were probably, you know, teetering on close of retirement anyway. And, you know, probably maybe, you know, from what I heard was, you know, planning on closing in a few years anyway, or passing it down to their children who really have no interest in keeping that store open or trying to sell it. But, you know, one of the owners has a, you know, health condition anyway, and they just wrapped it up and closed it. So, you know, did I see, you know, they've always referred us if we, you know, anyway, you know, as far as a designer, they would refer me. So, you know, if there was, they asked me if I wanted to buy any of their stock, and, you know, my heart, you know, I did feel bad for them. I just didn't, I wasn't sure how, yeah, it's, you know, it's a tough time.
I think we're all feeling, retail is definitely suffering, and we're all experiencing that, even though we're having this lively discussion amongst the thought leaders today. We also have to be cognizant of the environment that we're in. So thank you for sharing that insight. We appreciate it. The future, next question. The future depends on what we do today. What are the difficult conversations that will shape your future? And Dirk, can we start with you, since you've mentioned you're thinking about getting a warehouse?
Yeah. Great question. And that's another one I contemplated quite a bit. I think insofar as difficult conversations, they're going to happen on a variety of levels. Number one, when this is over, not all will be returning that were formerly employed by me to work. It won't be. We've got a new retail reality. And in that, sometimes we look at it and say, well, less is actually more. You know, yes, sales aren't what they used to be, but we've controlled expenses to the degree that we're kind of at a great retail level, one that I haven't seen in years, that, yeah, we are profitable and we enjoy coming to work with a little less drama, let's say, than we used to have in store. And I see Mary Lynn smiling about that.
I won't say a word.
Yeah. And, you know, my concern about the future of brick and mortar retail. I'm very, very concerned about that. What impact, as I said, will this have on Main Street retail? I worry about that also. More people will be working from home. How will this impact our commercial areas? Now you're seeing my my Chamber of Commerce hat kick in, but how will this affect the retail areas where we are doing business? Empty storefronts and whatnot. That's a huge concern to me. And, you know, we all know that businesses like Mary Liz and Elizabeth's are the backbone of this community. Small business is the backbone. You know, what will our unemployment rates be, et cetera? So these are the difficult things we're talking about, not only on the retail level, but also in our Rotary clubs, in our the Chamber of Commerce mixers and boardrooms and things like that. There's so many unknowns, and these are the conversations that are going on, difficult as they are. What does our future look like? And nobody knows for sure.
But it is our retail reality that we're all listening.
I
Yes,
think
Mary.
it's the reality for everybody who's in any kind of business right now. It's not that we're reopening our businesses. In a sense, we're opening new businesses. They happen to be in the same footprint with a lot of the same stuff, but it's incumbent on everybody who's running a business to figure out the best way to use their personnel, to make any changes that have to be made there, because this is not a time to weenie out. We have a chance to get it right. It's the same thing with vendors. We're looking at our vendors and seeing where we place our money, where are we sure we're going to get the product, and we're doing our buying projections way different than usual. I'm buying for a decline, but trying to figure out which vendors will have the goods that I can get at the last minute. So the strong are going to survive, as they always do after any kind of a horrible thing. We always lose a bunch of people. I'm in Chicago right now, downtown, staying in a hotel that's I came in this morning, right in the middle of the riots from last night. I'm under curfew tonight. I have to be home to my hotel by 8 o'clock and can't go out till 6 tomorrow morning. The streets have, still at noon today, glass in the streets, and I walked by a small gallery, beautiful gallery in Chicago, and the two women were in there. The front windows busted out, all the glass had been broken. It looked like a lot of stuff had just been broken to break it. And we have so many things in our country that all retailers are dealing with. Macy's on State Street here has just been completely torn apart for the second time, same Macy's store. Nordstrom, I looked at their escalators, crap everywhere, hangers and stuff. You can just see the things that fell out of the looters' hands. So we have so many things to face in this country, but each of us has to start at home, get our businesses in order so that we stay strong for our vendors, for our customers, and for our staff, and then move on to helping whatever we can for the problems in the world. That was a little preachier than I planned it to be.
No, that was
Nonetheless,
perfect.
well said, well said.
Elizabeth, do you want to comment on what you're doing now based on your experience? And are you having any difficult conversations that will help you shape your future?
Well, what I've seen is a lot of vendors that had never sold to online stores are now open to us. A lot of them were like, well, we've always sold to only brick and mortar. Now we're not, there's, and Mary, I totally understand, but I feel like I am real retail, even though I know that people that have brick and mortars don't consider me real retail. I try not to be offended by it because I know it's just different. But I don't have, 50,000 square feet that I have to rearrange every day to look like new stuff.
Oh, you definitely have lots of advantages. There's no question.
So, I think people need to pivot or die. There's a change that's happening, and either you're on board or you're left behind, and it may not be the change you want. You may keep dreaming of that time of the way it used to be, and maybe that time will come back. I miss browsing through vintage stores. I miss it so much, but it's not happening right now. So what can you do to make it happen? What can you do to change it? And, having, I'm trying to support our local restaurants, but you know what? We're doing a lot of cooking at home. We just are. And we would like what we're spending our time is really training our staff to help people, to take that time with customers, really get the information. We are screening our vendors like they're applying for a credit card. We are screening vendors like if you're late, we need updates. If you don't update it, we have like a 3 strikes you're out.
Good.
Because now people are reflecting that on us. No, I can't say to a vendor, oh, I'm sorry, but Billy Joe that makes your fire pits in Tennessee is having a hard time. If you don't communicate, you're gone. And a lot of vendors haven't really got up to date. And I'm not, trying to say it's a millennial world, but there is going to be a change whether people like it or not in retail, and it's already happened. So
Good.
if you're
Good.
just,
By the way, could I just say, online retail is real retail. I don't mean that at all. It's just, the store has all of the other qualities, and calling it brick and mortar is something that just bugs the crap out of me because it just sounds like a warehouse. So and I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
No, it's Mary, it's totally fine. When I first started this online retail, my dad said, nobody's going to buy a $2,000 chair off the internet. Yeah,
We sell them.
So in the essence of time, we have Looks like we have about 8 minutes left, and we want to take the questions that are in the Q&A chat box. So my last question to you is, what do you know now that you wish you knew before COVID? And this can be a light bulb moment, or it can be a silver lining. So let's start with Mary Liz.
I don't know. There's so many silver linings, little ones of people being happy to shop with us, talking about, there's many positive things. I don't have a real light bulb moment from this because I'm still wandering through it, trying to figure out our online presence, trying to make our store everything that it's supposed to be. I guess I just wish I'd known how to be cleaner before, because I'm certainly learning it now.
How to be cleaner?
Cleaner.
Cleaner, okay. And how about Dirk? What has been your light bulb moment or your silver lining?
Well, you know, it sounds bad to say, but there were some blessings in the COVID experience, and there continue to be. For me, I finally found that less is actually more. Less business, a certain level of retail that has allowed me to reconnect with a lot of my customers, reconnect with those people that I work with, and really enjoy the business. So that's been a blessing. That's in all this. I think that another light bulb moment is that I could focus on doing less business, but still grow my bottom line. So that's been a light bulb moment. It's something that I always thought might be the case, but COVID gave me the opportunity to actually put it in place.
Is that because you were more sensitive to your expenses?
Yeah, I think it's just more in tune with my business in general. Again, we were operating at a certain level with a certain number of employees with certain responsibilities that allowed me to disconnect more from my business. Okay. Whereas now I've been drawn back into it, I've taken more of a hands-on approach in looking at all expenses across the board and looking at the retail sales and just building and maintaining a workforce that's extremely productive, extremely, that works very well together. And again, just enjoying my business, like, well, not to a different degree than I have, let's say, the last 20 years. And another comment that I'll make just briefly is that I think Elizabeth said it, that, yeah, we can't live in the past. For the longest time, our group of retail florists, and we have a group that communicate regularly via text, about a dozen or so on the West Coast. We always look back and say, oh, if it were just like the 90s. Well, guess what? The 90s ain't coming back, and 2019 ain't coming back either. So we got to move forward.
Great. Elizabeth, can you wrap us up with your aha moments?
I think sometimes as a designer, I like to have everything planned out, and I like to sit, I thought I knew where I was going on 2020. I thought I had a plan. I really, really thought I knew where I was going. I am grateful for the shift. I do feel like it reinvigorated my store because, just to get people, you could have the best store in the world, but if nobody can find you online, you're nobody, so how do I drive traffic to the store and learning new ways and being open to marketing that I did not think was valuable. And it was learning from a younger generation that, hiring people that are 15 years younger than me that are like, zip, 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 zip. Oh, that's all you need to do. And I'm like, what? Just really, really embracing what I did not know and I'm kind of excited about all the changes. And I'm looking forward to seeing what, like I'm, usually, back to school, August and September are always dead for us. They're not this year. So I'm worried about the elections, what's going to happen then. I worry about these little things, but I have to say that I'm surfing the stress instead of stressing the stress. I'm just going to try to do my best to navigate and embrace what's coming next.
Well, that's a great wrap up. You're surfing the stress. I'm going to be there with you. So we want to give our an opportunity for we have two questions in the Q&A. And so I want to thank everybody for giving us your insights today and your inspiration and your energy. I think all of us can take this away and apply it to our own businesses. And it's been a pleasure having these thought leaders in the industry. So please take this video, this seminar, it's been recorded, show it to your staff and inspire others, because I think the energy that's coming out of this panel should be shared. So we were encouraged by your stories and your energy, and I'm just happy to be your moderator today, and I look forward to the success of your businesses. We'd like to thank the Las Vegas market and the Atlanta market for hosting this very timely educational session. So with that, I am going to pass it back over to Kimberly and Sarah.
Thanks, Lily.
Thank you, Lily. One of the questions that we had that came in is, for each of you, what are your thoughts on how you will be managing your stores during the holiday season?
For anybody, or?
I can start if you'd like. Yeah. This is Dirk from Fremont Flowers again. It was interesting because during Mother's Day, which was of course May, at the height of COVID, we had, again, the majority of our employees sheltered in place, and we had to really lean into technology, our phone systems, our website, computer systems, to get through that holiday. Therefore, that's how we ended up with 100% of our business via the website. When customers called the store, they were directed to our website, and it worked magnificently for us. I would imagine that for Christmas, which is the next big one for the floral industry, as well as we move into Valentine's Day next year, these are all periods of time when we'll be in some phase of COVID, unknown at this point in time, and we'll have to depend on that technology once again. But again, with changing habits, I think on the part of at least our customer base, seeing more and more of them go to online and order their flowers from us online, I have great faith that that's exactly how we're going to handle our holiday.
And they now trust you also because they've had an experience with you. Good. Mary Liz, how are you going to be handling the holidays?
We definitely will be amping up our online presence. And then I'm working to get our in-store systems really tight for more just-in-time ordering, keeping our inventory levels more carefully than we have in the past, and making sure that we have plenty of goods, because we always want to have a lot of stuff, but don't have a lot of leftovers at the end of the year. And since it's impossible to project, that should be a treat. But I do agree with everyone that the online presence is going to be very, very important. But one of my favorite things is the number of people who have been driven from the online shopping to come into the store to shop. So we'll still be seeing a hybrid model that's very, very important.
And Elizabeth,
so I'm not ready to give up on Main Street.
Okay. And Elizabeth, how about you?
So the first thing we did to set us up and get us ready for the holidays is we created a garden gift guide, and we sent it to a media list. So we already sent that out because the media, all national magazines and stuff, are already amping up, and they're already writing that. So we can get into people's homes. We created a garden gift guide, and we sent that already out. So And if you guys, I have a great media, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Recipe for Press, but I love, it's like you pay a flat fee and she sends you everything. So you could have like Better Homes and Gardens email address, everybody's email address. So you're sending them a gift guide and they'll, they may or may not use it, but already we've gotten 4 stories that have confirmed to use one of our products in their gift guide, Domino, which was really exciting for us. And so we're starting early, trying to get into the magazines. So prepping now, so they know that when that magazine comes out in November, they're seeing Box Hill, they're seeing our name, they feel like they're shopping at home. They're like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. We're also doing pre-orders. So we know that we're selling out of things. And Mary Liz, like you were saying, like some people promise you 6 weeks. Well, we have this tree stand that sells out every year. So we did pre-orders and sent out emails for that. So we get, we collect their orders now because we sell out every year before November on those things. So pre-ordering, you could do pre-ordering table decorations, stuff like that. So you kind of have that money already up front to work from. And we do a weekly e-blast and, like they've been kind of slowly, like we did the outdoor break room, the outdoor classroom, outdoor dining, because we're, a majority of states are still going to be homeschooling and I work full time. And right now my mom's here with my daughter in the bedroom doing Zoom. So, setting up outdoor classrooms and also looking at things to extend somebody's square footage in their home if they need to like have privacy. So we're just thinking about planting the seeds early for fall, for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas.
Great. Kimberly,
Can
what's the next? Oh, go
Lily,
ahead.
I wanted to add one thing in as we're talking about expanded use, our customers using our websites and whatnot more. I found that I've been able to sell more product than I typically would in my retail store. And one of the reasons why I decided to do Zoom from here is because in the back cooler or next to me, which you really can't see, are items that sold through very, very well that I picked up at either World Market or America's Mart, because I shop both markets. And I'm bullish on actually going out and getting more unique items to bring into our store because they're selling through better now that they're exposed to more consumers on our website and more consumers are using our website. So plug for World Market.
Great. Kimberly, what's the next question? I know we're a little bit over time.
Yeah, that's okay. We still have plenty of participants still tuned in at this point. Another question that has been given is, how did you transition your media presence from a professional business style social media to a more personalized, transparent social media? So going more from a business to personalized, if you may have transitioned that way.
Yeah, I'll start if you don't mind, ladies. We started doing more of our retailcation videos, and myself, my sister, who's my store manager, and another manager here, Maria, are all personally in these videos. So it's a great question, when you think in terms of branding and making sure that your brand is front and center, adding that personality to it, and just making the videos much more personable and comfortable. When we do a video for the store, we know what we're going to do, but we don't rehearse. We want it to be very natural and come off organic. And that's really made it a lot more personable, and we've connected better with our customer that way.
We've always approached it on a very personal level, although we try to do it. The back end is pretty well organized. We have our press plans ahead as you were saying, months ahead so we know what we're featuring when, what we're pushing and how we're pushing it through. For us, email marketing has been huge. We've been collecting names for the 15 years we've had the store, and our customers respond really, really well to that. We also find that Instagram and Facebook has a great response, but if I want people in right now that e-blast, whether they order online or by phone or come in, I can sell stuff fast that way. But we always have to make it fun, and I think the most important thing in all of our marketing is we try never, ever, ever to start with, we have, we've got, we know. We try to start everything with, you're gonna love. So it's all about them. And if we always make it about our customers, it has a pretty good chance of succeeding, except when it doesn't.
Kimberly, do we have one more question?
Actually have one from Facebook, and they want to know, as with a lot of the retailers that are tuned in, and being that you each are in the retail business, did you apply and or receive the PPP from the federal government? Just trying to figure out where businesses are and if that is something that has been accessible.
We've
You don't
applied.
mind?
Oh, sorry. We applied and we did not receive. I applied mostly because I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I figured, you know, like I need to get it in, but we did not. We were making, you know, we weren't in need of it, so we did not get granted it.
Yeah. We did apply. We got the PPP, came through on May 2nd. Kind of surprisingly how they do it. It just kind of shows up in your bank account. And the EILD also, we did receive that. And it was about a month later. It was quite a lengthy process. And all of a sudden, we look at the bank account, we go, oh, wow, where did that come from? So we got both. Plus, we got a local grant from our county. So it was all very helpful. We felt that we could get by without it, but if it was available, it would allow us to do some things in the store, some remodeling that we did, moving workstations, creating the social distancing, getting headsets for telephones so people had their own headset. It allowed us to do things like that and make us more COVID resistant, if you will.
We applied for the PPP and received it for both businesses. It has been for the restaurant a real lifeline. For Leon and Lulu, I have saved all the money that we would have. I've put aside all the money that I didn't depend on the PPP. So now I have a nice bank account that's going to help us with funding Christmas purchases and help us with our driveway expansion for our new parking lot. But we appreciated both very much. And we got a couple of other little grants.
And your tents also.
And our tents,
Oh,
absolutely.
your
The
tents.
tents.
Yay.
Oh, the tents are cool. They're red and white striped on the top.
We have one in the back. We have a 20 by 40 that we use for events to bring people into the flower shop. Yes. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
It's cool. I wish I could come.
Well, I'll be doing a lot of stuff in the tent. Art Van Eslander from Art Van Furniture, which was a major powerhouse in the furniture business in the Midwest, came to visit us many years ago, and he said, I love your store, but you got to get a tent. You have to have a tent sale. So we're going to be dedicating our tent sale to Art.
More Chicago action, it sounds like.
Any final thoughts?
I think that insofar as a final thought, that I'm excited about the future. I'm excited that I'm a little less complacent on a retail level than I was before, a little less comfortable. I like to say that necessity is the mother of invention, and it surely has been the case for us during COVID. We've done things differently. We will continue to do things differently, and we'll just approach business from a different perspective than we did before.
I think Dirk's exactly right. This gives us a great chance to get better at what we do and to improve all of our systems and our planning and our finances. And I think next year, we'll look back on this year and be so happy we lived through it, and we'll be running more solid businesses. I hope.
Kimberly, do we have any other questions?
We do have one. It is, do we expect new designs for in-home offices? And if so, where should they be looking?
For in-home what?
In-home offices.
You're going to see, being in the furniture business, you're going to see lots and lots of dual purpose merchandise coming out. It's going to be all over High Point. Lots of people are showing ways to work. You'll see everything from hacks online, where you can build this with 2 milk crates and a door, to ways you can make your coffee table work. And more people are going to help people who are working from home with their scheduling, their planning, their storage. It's going to be all over the place.
I can see, Mary Liz, how that will absolutely be the case. Almost a revolution, if you will.
And those of us who aren't going out are cruising around the internet, finding out how to fix our spice cabinets and how to improve our magazine storage. So I think that there'll be a great interest in all that, and we'll sell a lot of it. Thank you so much for including me on this.
Yeah, thank you.
This was so fun.
Yeah,
And of
thank
course,
you.
I have the showstopper here. That's
Oh,
one thing we have. She's our greeter at the front door, and people come by just to see her.
and what's her name?
That's Lexi.
Lexi.
Lexi. You see the pillow up there? Purchased it, World Market, Building C, floor 7. They're out of Arizona. Great small company, and I hope they're still doing well.
Well, we'd like to pass this back to the Las Vegas market. Kimberly and Sarah, thank you so much for hosting us today. And we have great ideas to take to market with us next week and this week.
Yep.
And we want to thank everyone for joining us, whether by Zoom, for Facebook Live, or viewing this in the future. We welcome you to both Las Vegas market and Atlanta market, and we hope to see you soon. And if not in person, please join us on our websites. Please stay safe and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.